If you have pain that shoots down your leg, makes sitting, standing, maybe even lying down uncomfortable, you might be dealing with something called sciatica. But what exactly is that, and how can you get rid of it? Welcome to Back Talk with Dr. Ryan. I'm Dr. Ryan Wohlfert, and on each episode, I address the most common questions and misconceptions about back pain and spinal health, how you can strengthen your spine and be your own guarantee for your health in your life. So today, we're going to dive into sciatica. So let's do this. So what is sciatica? Well, sciatica pain refers to pain that's going down your leg, the back of your leg, down the sciatic nerve's path. But what is the sciatic nerve? Well, it runs from your lower back through the hips and your buttocks down each of the leg. It's actually the longest nerve in your body. So when it's irritated or compressed anywhere along this path, the pain can start, from your lower back and travel down all the way down into your foot, into your leg, into your ankle, that usually down the back side of your leg. So what causes it? Well, in simple terms, pressure, irritation on the nerve. And it can come from multiple sources though. So it could come from a herniated or a bulging disc. So remember, the disc is that cushioning, that jelly-like filled cushion between the bones. It separates the bones of the spine called your vertebrae. So a herniation or a bulge can press on the fibers that make up the sciatic nerve. And I'll link to a video I did about herniated and bulging discs so you can see that. Bone spurs is another cause. So bone spurs are extra bone that forms when the bone is under stress from either injuries, even fractures, and poor posture. So these bone spurs can compress on the nerve because it's cutting down on the space where the nerve goes. I'll link also to an arthritis video I did because bone spurs are common signs of osteoarthritis. Another thing that can cause it is something called Piriformis syndrome. And I'll get into this more on a different video, but the piriformis muscle is in the buttocks on each side, and it goes from the sacrum, which is the bottom triangular part of the spine, it's part of the pelvis, and it goes from there to your hip. So in the sciatic nerve passes underneath that. Last one, which makes sense, is poor spinal posture can cause sciatica, even and especially the hunchback posture. This poor posture and misaligned spine, it builds pressure and potentially and commonly affects the sciatic nerve, because you might be wondering, how does the hunchback do that? Well, with the hunchback, the slouching in the mid-back, it also affects the low back and the posture of that. So now that you know where it can come from and a little background of what it is, how do you get rid of it if you have it? If you've had it, you know how much of a pain it can be, literally. So medication is often the first line of defense with any type of pain is prescribed, whether it's over the counter or prescription, but that only addresses the pain symptoms. From those causes that I just explained, it doesn't address those. It doesn't correct those. But addressing your posture and alignment is key to fixing sciatica. So one exercise is important, focusing on the lower back, the pelvis, the hips, the legs, especially the piriformis muscle. We want to help strengthen the core muscles to support your spine. And I'm going to link to a couple videos that show you one of my favorite core exercise to get started on to stabilize, and then also 4 hip exercises to help the mobility and strength of the hips. But with any exercise, with any type of therapy, it wants to be in the pain-free range. If you're experiencing more shooting pain while you're doing it, it's more than likely not going to be helping. We also want to adjust your posture, adjust your lifestyle. You want to avoid slouching. Avoid prolonged slouching, especially prolonged sitting, because you get in that slouched posture, especially if you're on any technology, you're watching TV, sitting on the couch, looking on your iPad, looking on your phone. So this poor posture, or proper posture for this poor posture, helps to decrease the pressure on the discs, on the muscles, which are very commonly causing irritation on the sciatic nerve. Chiropractic care is also important. So not just lifestyle adjustments in how you hold yourself, but chiropractic adjustments have been shown to relieve pressure along the sciatic nerve because it addresses the areas where it's getting compressed. Another one, traction therapy. So if you notice, this is part of my EAT therapy, EATN, Eaton therapy, exercise, adjust your lifestyle, traction, and then also nutrition, but we'll stick with traction right now. And stretches to the spine, creating space between the vertebrae, relieving the sciatic nerve pressure. That's what the traction does. It helps to reform, remold the spine, especially in this case of sciatica, in the low back and even the mid back to help with the hunchback posture, decreasing the stress on the ligaments, on the discs, on the bones, on the nerve especially by doing this. And the best doctors equipped to help you with this EAT therapy they're called CBP trained doctors, chiropractic biophysics trained doctors. And they know how to address the actual cause of the problem, of the sciatica, of the pain, and then give you recommendations and even treatments to help you with exercises, with adjustments, both chiropractic, but then also adjusting your lifestyle and the traction part of it. So I'm one of those. So if you can't find somebody in your area, please reach out to me and then I'll do my best to guide you or even take the case on myself. So Piriformis syndrome I mentioned is similar to sciatica, but there's a little bit of difference. So remember, the piriformis muscle is that muscle in your hip, in your buttock, and it can get dysfunctional. It's often used, we use it all the time. It gets tight, it gets tender, especially when we're sitting too much or inactive, not getting enough mobility. It also gets irritated with poor posture, poor spinal posture, especially of the hips, the pelvis, and the low back. Now, the piriformis can actually compress and irritate the sciatic nerve, causing sciatica, or a tight muscle, a tight piriformis muscle, can also act like sciatic pain because it's tender right in that part of the buttock. So stretching, strengthening, using a hard foam roller, it's called a packed hard foam roller, or even something plastic, something harder for massage. These are effective at releasing the piriformis muscle. But again, I'm going to dive into this in a different video on piriformis syndrome and what to do. Just remember that sciatica is painful, and the sciatica can come from anywhere down the path of the sciatic nerve, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Just like with all these with these spinal health issues, it doesn't have to be permanent. Even if you have arthritis, even if you have bone spurs, even if you have bulging discs, because if we address the posture, if we adjust your lifestyle, your exercise, if you stretch, strengthening your pelvis and spine, finding out, okay, is your spine not structurally sound, and maybe possibly having to retrain the ligaments using some form of traction therapy. Maybe you need to seek professional help. And like I mentioned, chiropractic biophysics trained doctors, CBP doctors, are the best equipped to deal with this type of issue. But if you want more of a just at home, like what can you do now? I created this spinal hygiene mini class, and it goes over and shows you exercises, lifestyle adjustments, and even at-home traction you can do to help to relieve pressure on the low back, to strengthen the spine, and then that takes the pressure off of the sciatic nerve. So if you want that, just type in spine in the comments, and I'll make sure that you get that. But until then, and in the meantime, I want you to be your own guarantee for your health, for your spine, and for your life.